of this webinar is the concluding remarks by our Principal Chief Conservator of Forest Wildlife and Chief Wildlife Warden, Shri Nitin Kakurkar sir. Of course, everybody knows him, but those audience who might not be knowing, for them, Kakurkar sir is from 1987 batch Indian Forest Service, and he has been in wildlife for quite a long time, including the Field Director of Melghat Tiger Reserve, Field Director of Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve, and various other posts. And he is a well-known wildlifer in Maharashtra. So now I invite Shri Kakurkar sir to make his concluding remarks for this webinar. Kakurkar sir.
Thank you, Dr. Goekar, and thank you to all the attendees for this webinar. I'll briefly summarize what has been discussed and what are probably my views as the Chief Wildlife Warden. Now, tiger conservation is now both an art what lies ahead as we hold more than 70% of the world's tiger population in the country, an actuality or a fact about which all of us in India have to be extremely proud of, but also an actuality which all of us have to enjoy with an even greater sense of responsibility as the world looks to us with hope. We, the managers of this charismatic species in central India, carry an even greater sense of responsibility as we sit here in Nagpur, which is called the tiger capital of India. We are not far away from the ground realities of the central Indian landscape, harboring about 33% of the total tiger population in the country. India as a country is increasingly being looked upon by the developing world as the provider of solutions to balance the very delicate issues related to environmental protection, as we try to take care of the aspirations of an ever-growing human population for better standards of living. The resultant issues of conflict being faced today is an expression of the same art of balancing. As the Chief Wildlife Warden of a state where the tiger population has virtually tripled in the last decade or so, I can say that we in Maharashtra take immense pride in the fact that our frontline soldiers, and soldiers they certainly are, grapple successfully with day-to-day issues of conflict amidst the awareness at the back of their mind that they are being watched by the entire world for a single case of laxity in dealing with protection. I salute them for their perseverance in their duties, which is, to put very mildly, fraught with hurdles as they camp in their remotely placed protection huts and patrol the tiger's territory, preventing the local villagers whose access to the natural resource, and in many cases, along with his only source of livelihood, has been deprived by bringing it under the growing protected area network. In this webinar, we have looked at the broader issues in managing tigers in Maharashtra, which are more or less a reflection of the issues in the central Indian landscape, brought to you in the first presentation by Dr. Ravi Kiran Goekar, who gave a brief overview of the various initiatives that have been taken by the state in tiger conservation. This was followed by a presentation by M. Srinivas Reddy, who has focused on one major solution to handle the crisis of conflict by the creation of more space for the wild denizens, while at the same time offering an excellent opportunity for our brothers living in the remotest corners of the state to experience the fruits of development as they provide their younger generation with better opportunities. Rehabilitation has proved to be a win-win situation for both as far as Maharashtra is concerned, and needs to be further pursued, maybe by adding villages which are on the fringes of the protected areas, by bringing them under the policy of rehabilitation. We also had a look at the hotbed of the human-tiger conflict, which was brought out by Kulraj Singh, or should I say Cool Raj Singh. Probably his name inspired the government to post him in Brahmapuri, which has been witnessing the most cases of human deaths due to an ever increasing number of tigers being churned out from the neighboring Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve. In fact, today Brahmapuri Forest Division itself has become a source area with a growing number of breeding tigers, and it is but natural that the dispersing sub-adults would create more and more conflict situations as they move around in the forest, agriculture, pasture mosaic. To be frank, although I have yet to go through the voluminous 650-page odd report published yesterday, giving details of the All India Tiger Estimation of 2018, I would like to quote one particular reference to the handling of the conflict situation in the Tadoba Navegao Bor landscape. And I quote, "A swift, dispassionate, and professional removal of problem individual tigers as per the protocols of NTCA is essential to permit long-term tiger occupancy in this forest, agriculture, pasture mosaic and prevent community retaliation towards the population and the species as a whole." Unquote. If I may add, and prevent retaliation towards the frontline staff, a threat which looms large. Also, how does one define a problem animal? An animal which has actually killed some humans, or one which is repeatedly being seen in a human dominated landscape? The difference is very difficult to define. We then had an overview of the challenges in conservation of tigers in the Western Ghat areas of Maharashtra, presented by Sunil Limay. His presentation has highlighted the importance of maintaining the crucial corridors between the Sahyadri Tiger Reserve and the Radhanagari Sanctuary, and further south from Radhanagari to the Dodamarg part, which then extends into northern Goa and Karnataka. Again, apart from the pressures of, into inverted commas, development, in the form of repeated demands for newer and faster means to come down the ghats to the Konkan area through linear infrastructure like roads, and the demand for using the mineral wealth in the form of mining for bauxite or iron ore, and to a lesser extent for laterite, for the, again into inverted commas, prosperity of the local community, to the fragmentation that is happening as a result of large chunks of privately owned pristine forests being converted to rubber plantations, the corridor is being challenged. The ESA notification is our hope for ensuring that the corridor connectivity is maintained. Again, referring to the AIT report, which mentions that we will have to wait for quite some time before the tiger population in the northern Western Ghats bounces back due to constraints of a low prey base, fragmentation to be revived, and the mitigation measures in the linear infrastructure to be put in place. Dr. Bilal Habib, senior faculty from the Wildlife Institute of India, presented the work being done in Maharashtra to ensure tiger conservation through research initiatives that have been taken up in the recent past. A growing population of tigers in a limited space requires newer and sound perspectives, and these cannot be arrived at without sustained and long-term studies. Hence, the state has been on the forefront to initiate many research initiatives where, apart from the Wildlife Institute of India, many other research partners like the Wildlife Conservation Trust, the Wildlife Research and Conservation Society, the Bombay Natural History Society, TRACT, Satpura Foundation, and many other organizations have been involved. Other than hardcore research, there are other smaller studies which have been undertaken by many, and the state is actively promoting all such work. Dr. Rajesh Gopal has highlighted the historical aspects and the mid-course corrections that have been done to come to a stage where we can now showcase to the world as far as our success in conservation of tigers is concerned, in the face of all the factors faced by a population of a country which is well on the way to be a leader in the world in various fields. The People's Perspective section has helped us get an insight on the views of people from various walks of life, including some members of the State Wildlife Board. We are extremely grateful to all those who have sent their views and all those who had taken their time out to ask certain questions. We are sorry we could not accommodate everyone. Last but not the least, we are extremely grateful to our Honorable CM, our Honorable Minister, and the Honorable Minister of State for sending their messages on this occasion. I would end by saying that if I was a tiger lover, I would go by my emotion. To repeat, if I was a tiger lover, I would go by my emotion. But since I am presently a manager, I have to follow science in the interest of the conservation of the tiger as a species and also safeguard the well-being of my frontline soldiers. Thank you.